Hello everyone, welcome to video number 3 in the 2023 Mathema summer session. The topic for today will be parallel lines and transversals. So first, to cover some basics, parallel lines are just two lines that will never touch no matter how far they go. They will always keep the same distance between them, and that is because these lines have the same slope. And one way you can tell that lines are parallel is if they have like these notches right here. If they have the same number of notches, then those lines are parallel. And something else to know is that a straight angle, like one you see here, along a line is 180 degrees. That's because it's 1/2 of a circle, which is 360 degrees. All right. Now, two more concepts relating to angles. So as you can see here, these are two angles that add up to 90 degrees, and that's called complementary angles. So complementary angles add up to 90 degrees. Now, as you can see here, this 110-degree angle plus this 70-degree angle add up to 180 degrees, and we call those two angles supplementary. All right, so that's all you need to know to understand the rest of this, which essentially what we've done is draw a line through these two parallel lines right here. And this creates 8 different angles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, and there's a few special properties that can help you figure out what the values of these angles are, especially in relation to each other. So first of all, angles 1 and 2, that's this one and this one, are called vertical angles. And vertical angles are congruent, meaning that they have the same number of degrees. So for instance, if the question told you that angle 1 was 100 degrees, then you would know that angle 2 is also 100 degrees because they're vertical angles. And now angle 1 and angle 5 are called corresponding angles. And that's because if you look here at this intersection, this kind of T intersection, 1 is on the top. It's on the top left, and 5 at this intersection is also on the top left. So they're corresponding to each other. And corresponding angles are also congruent. Okay, moving on to angle 1 and angle 6. These are what are called alternate exterior angles, and they are also congruent. So as you can see, exterior means like this would be the interior since it's between the parallel lines, and this is on the exterior. This is also on the exterior, but they're on alternate sides of the transversal. The transversal is the line running through. So we call them alternate exterior angles. And again, those are congruent. Okay, and one last one is angle 2 and angle 5. Those are called alternate interior angles. And they're also congruent. So they're interior because they're on the inside of the transversal and on alternate sides. They're on the inside of the parallel lines and on alternate sides of the transversal. All right, so now that I've walked you through these concepts using the angles that are marked in black, try this on your own with the angles that are green, or it'll just look like the lighter ones, 3, 4, 7, and 8. So what I mean is between angles 3, 4, 7, and 8, find one example of vertical angles, one example of corresponding angles, one example of alternate exterior angles, and one example of alternate interior angles, and then type your answers in the chat. Okay, now we have 2 more pairs of angles, but it's a little bit different this time. So we have same side interior and same side exterior. Now, same side interior means that they're on the same side of the transversal and they're in the interior of the parallel lines. So for instance, angle 4 and angle 5. And these same side interior angles are actually supplementary, meaning that they add up to 180 degrees. So if you know that angle 5 is 120 degrees, how many degrees what is the measure of angle 4? Angle 4 is 60 degrees, of course, because 180 minus 120 is 60. Now, the same thing goes for same side exterior angles. They're also supplementary. And one example would be angle 1 and angle 8. All right, now you know everything there is to know about transversals. So let's try putting these concepts into practice. All right, so here's your first practice problem. We have two parallel lines in a transversal, and you have to find the angle measures of angle x right here and angle y here. So pause the video and give it a try on your own. And the information you're given is that this angle up here is 125 degrees. So pause now and see what you get. All right, finished? So there are numerous ways to approach this, but here's one way that you can solve this problem. First, notice that this 125 degree angle and angle y are alternate exterior angles. And what did we just learn about those? They are congruent. So that means that angle y is also 125 degrees. Okay, and now the second thing I noticed was that angle y and angle x are supplementary, meaning that they add up to 180 degrees. And we know this because they're both along this straight line, and lines are 180 degrees on a side. So that means that x is 180 minus 125. 180 minus 125. All right, and then the answer to that is 55 degrees. So angle x is 55 degrees. All right, so here's your second problem, something a little bit more challenging. Here, well, I'll let you take a look for it yourself. Use your savvy and pause the video here and try your best to figure it out. What you're doing is solving for x. All right, so again, there's numerous ways to solve this problem. So I'll walk you through through the method that first jumped out at me. So we see that we're given this angle here, which has a value of 10x. And if you just focus on these two as the parallel lines and this line as the transversal, you can see that this angle and this angle here are congruent because they're alternate interior angles. So this right here is also 10x. All right, sorry, that's a bit hard to see. Okay, and now the next thing I noticed was that this angle here and this angle are same side interior angles. And we learned that those are supplementary. So essentially, these two angles will add up to 180 degrees. And now we have an equation. So I'm just going to write down the equation really quickly. If you can think of the equation on your own, that's great. Here we have it. 10x plus 11x plus 12 equals 180 because these angles are supplementary. And now the next step is just to solve for x. So we combine 10x and 11x to get 21x plus 12 equals 180. Next, we subtract 12 from both sides to get 21x equals 168. And now we divide both sides by 21, and our answer is that x is 8 degrees. So how'd you do? One other way you could try to solve this, again, there's just showing you that there's multiple ways, is you can notice that 10x here and this angle are corresponding. That means they're congruent, so this is also 10x. Then you can notice that this and this are vertical angles, so they're also congruent. And then you can reach kind of the same conclusion. Or what you could even do is notice that this angle and this angle here are corresponding. And now you have obviously supplementary angles. So all in all, very interesting concept. I hope you learned something and I hope you enjoyed.